Capstone IAS Academy speaks volumes of its founder and ambassador, Dr. Santhosh Babu. It is a blessing to be trained under the guidance of him. He has held numerous positions for the government, from Principal Secretary to Government for the Information Technology Department, Secretariat Chennai, Chairman and Managing Director at Tamil Nadu Handicrafts Development Corporation are just some of his achievements. His contributions have been tremendous. You can learn from the IAS officer himself of his stature to crack your UPSC exam. Not only has he achieved so many successes, he is a great teacher, guide, and a mentor too. With a team of expert professors in each subject who are IAS officers themselves, you can learn from all of them. He offers a convenient digital platform to soak up all the knowledge to crack your exam. He has been instrumental in guiding students who have been toppers. Now, with his own academy, he assists each and every student to achieve his goal. I request each one of you to visit www.capstoneiasacademy.com for more details. Subscribe to our channel Capstone IAS Academy and hit the bell icon to never miss an update. So, Dr. Santhosh, I would like to question you about your academy. Can you describe what motivated you to initiate this venture to start this academy?
Thank you, Anisha, for the nice introduction. The Capstone IAS Academy came into my mind as early as 2014. So this was not a new thing. But the new thing about this is that it is completely online academy. So when I started off, I was thinking of having a physical academy. But because of the COVID situation and the new normal that it has engendered today, people have got used to the online model. So I think there is a clientele out there who wishes to stay at home in the comforts of the home and study for the civil service, or for that matter, any other examination. And civil service examination is all about time management. So if you're traveling to an academy, going up and down in a bus or catching an auto or going by your own vehicle, I believe a couple of hours, which is very precious, is lost. You may as well sit at home and listen to our videos, listen to our online classes. And the biggest thing here is there is no front bencher or there's no back bencher. In fact, everybody is a front bencher in an online academy. So the reason was that I was feeling that lots of academies are there in and around Chennai and other parts of the country. But all of these are run by people who have attempted the civil service and who have failed in that process. And obviously, there was no other goal, so they started IAS academies. So why not an IAS officer himself starts an IAS academy so that we can give first-hand experiences. We don't bring in experiences which are, from second-hand sources. We bring in direct experiences. So if you look at our IAS academy, there are enough number of IAS, IPS, IRS officers who have called it a day from the service, but who would like to contribute to the betterment of our society through students.
That's wonderful, sir. So can you tell us a little about your journey and your career up till now?
So I'm a medical doctor by profession. I completed my MBBS in 91. And in 93 exam, I got in the Indian Postal Service. 94 exam, I got in the Indian Administrative Service. I've served the government of Tamil Nadu up till now. I have been called to join the Prime Minister's office in 2019 August. To be in the Prime Minister's office is a privilege, but I declined that offer very politely because I was doing tremendous transformational work inside Tamil Nadu as the Principal Secretary IT. As you're aware, maybe you're aware, in 2011, I was the IT secretary. So I was the youngest secretary in the history of Tamil Nadu. And the work that you see in e-governance, most of it has my imprint in it. And so if you look at the common service centers or the state data center, the Tamil Nadu State Wide Area Network or the state portal, all this infrastructure has been set up during my tenure as MD Alcott and CEO of Tamil Nadu E-Governance Agency from 2008 to 2011. So I carry with me that experience, and my own personal feeling is that no citizen should ever visit a government office. This is the first premise on which my entire life revolves. I have two premises. One is no citizen should ever visit a government office. And second, that's because the citizens pay for these government offices through the taxes. And what do? We make them wait, we humiliate them, we take money from them, we make life so miserable for them. And this governance is basically a social contract. 1.3 billion people are telling 8,000 people to govern us because they can't do it themselves. So in that social contract, I think both sides have to maintain their portion of the contract. So it's not right for any citizen to be citizen's life or liberty to be made difficult by any government process. So I believe that no citizen should ever visit a government office. Second is that if government knows that you exist, my question is, why should you ever apply for anything? So that's why I came out with predictive governance. One of the reasons why I didn't go to the Prime Minister's office was because I was doing what is called as predictive governance with a blockchain backbone and a state family database and the 2,000 crores BharatNet and 500 crores TamilNet tenders, projects, which would have completely transformed Tamil Nadu in big ways. We would have been catapulted into a different orbit altogether in governance. I also, so just to continue, the pitch which I bring to the IAS is that I completely transform wherever I'm posted. So be it Pumbhar, which is, it's a punishment post. In 42 years, it had done 30 crores of turnover. And when I joined, and after I joined, in 44th year, we took it to around 70 crores. And if you see all the airports inside Tamil Nadu and in Tirupati, the entire interiors are done by Pumbhar under my leadership. We got the National E-Governance Award. We transformed the organization from a technology point of view, paperless offices, you name it, every pillar of the 4 pillars, which is administration, marketing, design, and production. Everything was brought on an online mode using the way emerging technologies like augmented reality, virtual reality, 3D printing, you name it. My journey, as Nisha asked, is all about transformation. That's what I want to tell all of you, that the IAS is not meant to just bring about officers who will make incremental changes. The IAS is meant to bring in leaders who will become transformers. So there are 2 kinds of leadership. One is an incremental leadership. Second is a transformational leadership. So incremental leadership, most of the leaders are incremental leaders. They're just happy with what is happening and maybe improve 5%, 10%. But can you make it a 360-degree change in such a way that our citizens can live in peace and continue with their vocation happily without any interference whatsoever? That's what IAS officers are meant for. And that's why I created this IAS Academy, to bring forth value-based IAS officers. They're not just there for being an IAS officer. They have to bring huge transformation and remain honest in the process.
That is tremendous, Dr. Santhosh. Having the rich experience that you've mentioned, can you describe for us how the students should approach this exam?
Yeah, as I said, time management is of essence. You look at many resources. It can be food, it can be air, it can be water, it can be space. None of this is available equally to every human being. Nisha will have more space than me, or I might have more food than you, etc. Nobody gets it equally. There's only one resource which is equally available to the President of America, President of India, you, me, the man in the street, the animals, the plants. It's a 24-hour capsule, right? So the success or failure, whatever you call it, all depends on how you budget the 24 hours. And for me, the 24 hours is the essence of life itself. Because 7 hours is essential for sleeping. So for any human being, you should have 7 hours. So you should sleep from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. This is my, so I keep saying, if you wake up at 5, if you wake up at 7, you will not succeed. If you wake up at 5, you will succeed. If you wake up at 6, you may succeed. If you wake up at 7, you will not succeed, is my dictum. So waking up early in the morning, like the birds do, going with the circadian rhythm, will do great for your preparation. So best thing is to go to sleep with a book, preferably a biography in hand of a great person. Like Martin Luther King or Nelson Mandela or Swami Vivekananda or Mahatma Gandhi or Abraham Lincoln, anybody, even it can be a local hero also. But the point is that, these are very historical in a sense. So you go back into history and you learn a little about the person, not only the person, about the times that he spent, those times. So reading a big fiction or reading a motivational book or reading a biography and going to sleep with that would be my first recommendation. And waking up at 5 and then doing a lot of exercises for 1 hour, putting that earphone while doing this, listening to BBC, NDTV, etc. So that, two things get into it. You get energized. At the same time, you also get a lot of cerebral inputs. So that's what I keep doing every day, day in and out. I keep doing this. And then, doing 1 hour of pranayama and yoga would do a great deal of benefit. So 2 hours out of that 17 hours that is available, 2 hours you have to dedicate for physical exercise, preferably running, aerobics, etc., and 1 hour of yoga. Then, after all the time is used for your personal purposes, food and ablutions and stuff like that, you have around 12 hours. That is the critical 12 hours, which will determine success or failure. There will be a lot of anecdotal evidences. People say, no, I didn't never study. I studied only for 20 days, but still I got into the IAS. But that's very rare, and that might be to do with extra brilliance, or somebody would have prepared all his life for this, but you not have, dwelled too much into it. For him, this 20 days, 30 days is good enough. But for an ordinary person like you and me, we need that 12 hours and 365 days to make this an effective preparation. Now, there's no point in saying afterwards, gosh, I could have done this, I could have done that, I could have. What did you do when you got the time is a question that I would like to ask. So if you have 1 year at your disposal, that luxury which only your parents can give, and to those who don't have the luxury, I would still say that, hats off to you, because you people are trying in spite of the constraints and the difficulties of life, right? There are many people who sit under the tree and study. There are people who sit under the lamppost and study. There are examples and examples. Dr. Abdul Kalam is one of the best examples. Comes from a very poor family ground to become the president of India. So being aspirational would be a big thing. Aspirational at nobody's cost. You want to make society better. You won't be a giver, but you are now a taker. So till you are on your economic feet, you have to be a taker. You have to take money, you have to take food, you have to take water, you have to take love, you have to take affection, take everything in full. But this preparation is to make you a giver. And the service, which is the IAS, IPS, etc., actually makes you get that big, huge canvas for you to draw anything. You can paint a picture of the world that's so beautiful, that's provided for, where there's no poverty, where there's no illiteracy, there's no insanitation. You can imagine that kind of world. Why should my India not be like Switzerland? Is a question that we should all be asking. So there is a process that they have adopted, which we are not adopting. And there's a discipline that they have adopted, which we are not adopting. So discipline on time would be the biggest thing that you would bring to your personal self. This is what I find when I when I ask aspirants, they say, we wake up at 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is a very unearthly hour. 7 o'clock is a very unearthly hour. 4:45, 5 is the best hour to wake up. That's the time, you should listen to some morning hymns, etc. Make your mind fresh. Look at the world, so beautiful. The sky that is just coming out into daylight. It's an amazing world. And every day you should look at it with a fresh prism and see the beauty of the world. And this is the world that you're going to serve. And there are inequalities in this world. We need to bridge all those, right? We can't say that I'm in a very good position, so be it. No. If you're a patriotic person, you imagine the subcontinent called India. You remove all Indians out. Can you love the subcontinent? You cannot. It will be like rock. It will be like water. It will be no human being will be there. Why are we saying patriotism? Patriotism is about people. So if you love the people, then you serve them. So service is the motto of the IAS. And by getting into it, you're not doing anything for yourself. You're doing a whole lot of things for your countrymen.
That is so much that we can learn from you, Doctor. So I just wanted to know, what are the advantages, having said that, all that you have said and given us an insight, what are the advantages a student can have joining the academy? and learning so much from you. So,
Yeah. See, obviously, this COVID has made lots of families, um, I would not say poverty ridden or anything, but they have difficulty in managing the fees, etc. So, one of the things that we have done is being very cognizant of this fact and reduced our total term fees to around 94,900. And we also give 2-3 installments. And tomorrow we are going to do a series of things where, where both parents have lost because of COVID, etc. We're going to make it very easy for students who are aspirational, etc. A lot of series of things we're introducing tomorrow onwards. Having said that, so that's one of the things that's happening. Second is obviously this online mechanism. Third is my teachers, including me. One of the good things that happens with an online thing is you can get some of the best teachers, because the best teacher will be sitting somewhere in Bangalore or Hyderabad or Delhi, but he'll not be willing to travel to Chennai to teach. So I should make available the best teaching faculty to my students, my aspirants. That I have done. We have managed to get around 20 people, teachers who have been there in this business for the last 15 to 20 years, highly experienced. I brought another IAS officer by name Shashikant Senthil, amazing officer, 9th rank in the country. First time he wrote and got in. Then he quit the service to join the Congress party, highly committed to the country. So you asked about commitment. He's the best example, and is an amazing teacher in psychology. I teach public administration. I think with a lot of proficiency I teach. I love teaching. I was always considered a very good speaker on stage. I'm a TED speaker, but speaking and teaching are two different ball games altogether. I was never sure whether I could be a teacher. But having done that for the last 1 year, teaching 3.5 hours at one trot has really made me a good teacher. I love teaching. The passion is in me. I have realized that I have this extra talent that I can put to good use for the country. So that's where we are. We'll give the best. And since we are a startup, startups always do better than the other established companies. So give us a chance. We will prove to you. And I'm not looking at making a huge commercial success out of this. Suppose I get 1,000 people and I don't convert any of them into IAS or IPS. There's no value in it. Suppose I get 100. But if I'm able to convert some 10 people, 10 students or 20 students, that will be a huge success by any standards. So that's what we are looking at. And we are trying to pursue excellence. And I want to convert this company, this organization, to an edutech company, which means we use technology everywhere possible. So there'll be, it is to minimize the disadvantages to many sections of the population. And we'll reach it out to them in a very, very affordable manner.
That's wonderful, Dr. Santhosh. And having said that, what do you think about the aspirants that are preparing on their own, and they don't succeed for years on end, but they continue to pursue it without any assistance? So what do you feel about students like that?
Yeah. So there's a strategy involved in this examination. So somebody who is studying at home, if he has that strategy, nothing like it. I mean, I don't think if he's a self-driven person and he knows time management and nuances of writing answers, etc., it is good. But I think experience counts here. There are many people. For example, I never went to an academy. I just wrote just like that. But I did follow brilliant tutorials at that point of time. I'm talking 93, 94. I did follow something. So obviously you require a guide. It can be a tutorial, which is like that. It can be an online academy like this, or you go to a physical academy. But I think if there are good teachers available, they will tell you the best strategy suited to your personality. So, this has to be tailored to each person differently. The approach has to be different for each person. There are certain people who just read once and they're able to understand things. There are people who will take time to understand it. So you can't have one size fits all a strategy for every single aspirant. So my own feeling is, I have done Zoom meetings with many candidates now, and we understood their pluses and minuses. I put other teachers and all into this, and we have realized that this student requires a different approach itself. So that's what we are trying. So I would advise aspirants that if you can make that little investment in terms of the fees, etc. Any academy, not necessarily our academy, any academy would do the job, but ours will be very good because we are trying to prove that we are the best in the business.
Yes, Doctor. Coming to that point, the advantages with this academy would be the mock interviews that we provide for students. So, what is the
Self
mock interview
mentoring
like?
also. Mentoring is a very important part of our strategy.
Yes.
Personal mentoring, one to one.
So, the personal mentoring and the mock interviews, Dr. Santhosh, what would it be like for the students? What would their experience be like if they want to approach the academy for this?
So we have done mock interviews for 3 aspirants as of now, and they have come back and asked us for more because we have put one of the best chairman possible. And this chairman, he was in the IAS interviews for boards for 8 years. So 8 consecutive years, he was in the UPSC board for IAS interviews. So if you can get somebody like that on the board as chairman, you can see that he brings a different flavor itself. See, I can ask a number of questions, but I have the experience of really going and sitting as a candidate twice, but I don't have the experience of actually sitting except in mock interview boards. This IAS officer, which is 74 batch IAS officer, comes with a lot of experience, and he's also advisor to Tata Sons. It's got a lot of roles. It's plays different hats for different organizations. So that kind of private sector, government experience, NGO experience, all kinds. So he's a chairman. Then we have Senthil, me, then Mr. Surya Prasad, IPS, and we bring a different flavor into the interview board. And ours is not a one question answer session. And if you see the interview videos that we have, we have tried to test the personalities. We are not trying to test the knowledge which has already been done in the mains examination. Our role is to find out what are the pluses, what are the minuses, how do you strengthen the pluses, how do you reduce the minuses. Those are the kinds of things that in our mock interviews we give as feedback. And these 3 candidates have come and asked for one more session with us before they go into the actual interviews. So that speaks volumes of our mock interview sessions. Mentoring, I have done a lot of mentoring by this time for lots of candidates. Lots of people across India are calling. They want to know how to crack this examination. Many have no clue at all. They have been led the wrong way by many different people, etc. So personal one-to-one mentoring also helps in this. And it's part of the package, so we don't charge separately for that. The other thing that we have is an artificial intelligence-based question system, which is the first in the country, where the algorithm will tell you where you are going right, where you're going wrong, where you're taking more time, where you need to improve, etc. So if you can take those test series, then you'll be exactly able to pinpoint where your weaknesses are and improve on it.
Yes, Dr. Santhosh. Actually, many students would like to know about the mentoring program, the mock interviews, as well as Excelon's smart series to help the students. Could you also throw light on how a student could go about choosing their optional subject and how they could benefit from the academy?
Yeah, so we teach 8 optional subjects in our academy. Although there are 48 optional subjects, of which 24, are different languages. So basically, have around 24 subjects, including zoology and botany, etc. But mainly in our academy, we teach public administration, which I teach. Then psychology, which Shashikant Senthil IAS teaches. Then geography. Then public polity and international relations. Anthropology. So these are the different subjects that they choose. Now, it all depends on the background of the candidate, whether he or she is interested in taking the subject which he or she has studied in their degree course, because that will be much easier. But the only problem is, sometimes, one mechanical engineer told me, I'm taking mechanical engineering. This was a couple of years back. Then he came back and said, "Oh no, I don't want to take mechanical engineering because this is not what I expected. I did mechanical engineering many years back, but now to pick up the nuances of it, I don't have people to teach me." Now, none of these academies will offer classes on mechanical engineering or electrical engineering, those subjects. Whereas all the academies will provide on anthropology, public administration, psychology, sociology, you name it, geography. So that's what I would request. Because I'm a public administration teacher, I would exhort all of you, because I'm an outstanding teacher, right? No, the advantage I bring to the table is that I was an IAS officer. I was also a politician. So public administration is all about, administration politics dichotomy, or politics administration dichotomy. So that's the crux of public administration. So I bring that flavor of the experience of being an IS officer, the experience of being a politician, how these interplay in the ladder called power. There's a power play actually happening. So it's very interesting, intriguing subject. And interestingly, the Basman committee has recommended to the government that public administration and law should be the only subjects compulsorily available for anybody. You can come from a science background, chemistry, whatever different backgrounds, but they will have only one. What's the point if somebody learns zoology and does it? They're not going to use it. I would say when anthropology is very useful because when I was a sub-collector, I studied anthropology as a subject, and I used anthropology to actually identify a scheduled tribe and give them certificates. I did their study from birth to death, the rituals, puberty, birth, marriage, death, you name it. Because I did anthropology along with this MS Swaminathan Research Foundation, I did that. An entire village in Chidambaram, near Chidambaram, is named after me because we gave certificates and which was denied earlier. So, but had I done zoology, had I done botany and all, it might be useful. Might be if you're, I don't know. But I would seriously say take one of these subjects in social studies like anthropology or sociology, psychology, public administration. Any of these are schooling, but study it the way an MA candidate in this will study, or a PhD candidate in this will study, and understand the nuance of theories, how it applies to a practical level. For example, public administration is all about theories in the paper one. Paper two is how you translate those theories into practice, or how those theories have actually engendered a new way of public administration, etc. So candidates, if they're joining our academy, we would have a platter for them, and we have outstanding teachers to teach this. So it should not, one of the things that the student should do is go through the syllabus 101 times. I remember when I was studying, I was very good in history, and so I took history and geography. So my wife looked at me and said, "You will not score anything." She actually went and studied the whole syllabus and selected zoology and anthropology, because zoology, because I'm a medical graduate, should be a cakewalk, and anthropology because it's related. So that's the kind of nuanced kind of understanding that you need to have about your strengths and the optional subject. So you should not take something which is completely alien to you. You should have some relationship to it. And I would seriously suggest that you could sit with us and we could, kind of narrow it down for you so the choices become less, and then you prioritize.
We all definitely agree, Dr. Santhosh, that the competitive advantage lies in learning from the experts and the best mentoring that Capstone can give. Also, could you just throw a little light about how current affairs can be analyzed with the help of the academy, and how we facilitate that?
Yeah. So there's a teacher by name Shahid Hashmi who does this on a daily basis. He reads the whole newspapers, every newspaper possible. And at 5 o'clock, he comes out of the video, which analyzes the newspapers in detail. So although we say read end to end, there are many editorials that you need to analyze in a deeper way. It's not just reading it, it's just relating to your content also in terms of theory. So if you're reading something about Parliament, what happened in Parliament, obviously you have to relate it to what you learn in polity. So that is the kind of nuanced kind of approach that you need to take. You can't just underline and study, I'll read it later. You need to analyze it to the last thread. For example, you take the example of a Quad policy, why we are with America, Japan, Australia, why India is doing this Quad. Now, we can say that Quad meeting took place, Prime Minister attended, etc. That's not the reason. The reason is how it evolved over a period of time, what it is originally, what it is now. The entire process of how, when, what, where, those questions have to be asked around that newspaper, that particular newspaper. So, I remember in 2018, there was a question about a spacecraft or something. The name was different. So name initially was different. It was called, I forget the name, and the name in 2018 was different, and the characteristics of that voyage also was different. But many of the students had read the earlier one without reading the later one. So this end-to-end till the date of examination, till the 1 month before the prelims examination. Whatever you learned the last 1 year, revise it. What you learned in January, find out what happened to it in July. and then do the comparison and contrast. So it has to do with a lot of analysis. You need to have an analytical bent of mind to do it. But we will help you with that process. And if you see the videos on Capstone RIS Academy on YouTube, you'll realize the importance of what I'm saying.
Yes, Dr. Santhosh. With all that you have said, we are totally convinced that the Academy has a holistic program from start to end. So we are really happy to have to talk to you and get your inputs and insights and a deep insight as to about the Academy and how to approach the exam itself. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you. I wish all the candidates the very best. We are all walking, talking molecules of talent. We just need to put it in the right path and move forward with an aspiration, not for the self, for the country, what you will do for the country when you get into the service. If that is the biggest motivation that you can have, nothing else can be so motivating. So God bless, all the best. Thank you, Nisha.
Thank you.